welcome back everyone. Here we are, new project day, another one of the Corners of Happiness builds from Cuteroom. I'm doing pretty sure it's the coffee time. Yeah, coffee time. This sort of little coffee shop build. Should be, don't want to speak too early, but it doesn't look overly complicated. Sort of looks like just basically a wall and a bar there. But it looks like we got the handy dandy gum wrapper gold thing to pull off the thing with. Let's see how that works. I don't think I've ever had a set that had one of those. I guess either gum wrapper or cigarette wrapper, depending on how old you are. That didn't give us a good cellophane off. Maybe. Still going. Out of the way. And we'll pop her open and see what we got here while I'm doing this. If you're new here, this is what I do. I buy these kits and build them step by step, mostly in real time. You can see all my successes and all my failures as I go along. Hopefully how I fix those inevitable failures. Upload daily and just trying to have a good time. We're not solving the world's problems, we're just building silly little models and having a bit of fun. If there's any kits or builds or sets you want me to take a shot at, feel free to drop in the comments. I'm always looking to add on to my list. And I've got the most intelligent audience on YouTube because y'all provide me with nothing but the best of options. Okay. So, what do we got? I got a stencil. There's a... Yeah, these are... Okay, so we are going to... They're not stickers. These are actual cutouts on those, which I think I remembered from previous ones of these I've done. Same thing here. It's all got to be manually cut out to put and glued in place. So that's I knew that was going to happen. A little fairly light instruction manual. So pretty good pictures, good printing on this one. So I don't see a lot of thing. Looks nice and crystal clear on there. No complaints about that for sure. And yeah, and got our little bag of goodies. I'll probably keep the utility knife and put it in my stack of utility knives, but I think the rest will probably go away. And let's see what's in the big bag of goodies. I'm pretty sure this is just to make the dust cover for it. 4 sheets of acrylic. I don't have the patience or the steadiness of hand to really make those, but I might take a shot at this one, see how it goes. Alright, now let's see what's in our big bag of goodies. Okay. Bits and bobs and beads and rivets and like a piece of felt. Sandpaper, wire, LED switch, and looks like should be an LED, at least one LED in there somewhere, I would say. Okay, yeah, 1 or 2, looks like 3. Yeah, looks like only 3 actual lights in this one, so that's usually wallpaper, and a piece of cardstock there. And next bag. Random shapes. It looks like stools. Pieces of wood. Not another stool top or something. Looks like that's our platform. Alright, so I think that's everything. I say I'll take a look and we'll grab the first few pieces, the first few steps, and get that rolling and see how far we get tonight. I thought I've done a couple of these, and one turned out I thought really good, and one turned out acceptable. They're not easy, but these aren't like top tier, most difficult thing I've ever done in my life. Just a lot of little bitty bits and bobs to do on it. But I think it'll be a fun little build and see how it turns out. All right, I'll be right back with the first little bit. Okay, I think I've got a little plan for tonight. I'm going to go a little bit out of order in a couple of places, but it's going to be worth it in the end, I believe. Fingers crossed, at least. That was up there. And go there for the moment. Actually, this first. There is, I don't even know if it's going to show up here or not, but you can sort of see that there's a little red line and some dash there. That's supposed to line up with that hole. Whenever we put it on there, glue it in place. So that's step number one, getting our floor tile down. So we're going to use the old B7000. I tried a few different glues, and this one just suits me the best. I think it does a good job of sticking fairly quickly and getting good. And I'm able to smooth it out pretty good too. Just put, let's say, it doesn't take a lot. Just sort of probably actually do just a real thin line all the way around the edge. Hopefully, this is going to be sort of recessed, so it's not that big a deal on the edge. It goes down into our little thing, but it won't hurt to have it done. And make sure I get my little dot. Just, a little swizz around. And get my handy dandy leftover squeegee from a screen protector. Just work my way out from the inside. Smooth it out best I can. So I get a fairly nice smooth. Looks like I'm a little high, but got good coverage on it. Like I said, got a little overhang on the edge, so I'll let that dry before I trim it. But I'll trim that edge off to make sure it's nice and flush once we get it mounted in here. Now this part, every time I've done it, I've messed it up. So gonna try. Every time, both times I've done it, I've messed it up. But we got 2 long pieces and 2 short pieces. And the long pieces are the front and back, short pieces are the sides. Maybe too close here. And these go in the corners, and that's what our platform rests on to keep it properly positioned. So I picked this little doodad up off of Amazon the other day, little teeny tiny square, probably a little bit more accurate than the one I've made, maybe. And if I can find a nice good piece of flat piece of that should. Now, these two go together, and these two go together, and that's our back one's where our switch goes on that. And this might be another one that's a good. Nah, I was just about to think it might be another good one for me to put one of my push button switches in, but I think this one will actually be good to do a full size. Okay, now this is going to be this side and this side, so they're going to go in like so. And then this goes into the corner. See, you get that little, gives a little, we put one of those in each corner, we get that little lip to rest our floor on. Now I got to decide which glue am I going to use for this. I think, evidently I've already got some glue on there. Okay, I think I'm going to go with the super glue. And now I guess it doesn't matter. As long as you're uniform, and it doesn't matter whether you go, which side goes in and out, just as long as it matches the other corner. Yeah. Because the picture is not good enough to show. Okay, actually. Okay, here we go. They did, I stand corrected, they did zoom in on the corner to show which way it goes. So that corner goes, actually, okay, so that one, so it goes, the back goes, okay, so it does go like that. Okay, so put a dab of our old Gorilla Super Glue. My super glue of choice, strictly because it's got a brush in there. don't think I've ever had a single bottle or tube or anything of super glue that actually worked like this, because it always dries up and gets crusty inside the tube, and you can't do anything with it once that tube gets used up. So I've really been glad I found this stuff here. Just ease you in there, pushing down and together. Shouldn't take too long, 5 or 10 seconds. Wood, and it's really warm in here, so I think that'll help with the bonding as well. I've never got around to getting my AC fixed, so I've got to get my buddy from high school, who I know he can take care of me. Just gotta. Okay, now, all right, got a good flush edge there, and now what we'll do, leave that in the form, and I'll put some glue in the corner, and then jab this thing in to sort of give us a little more reinforcement. Yeah, that's the plan. I was just looking to make sure I'm not putting the wrap on now, but it goes on after everything else is assembled. I'll probably end up gluing myself to this thing, but let's see, it just goes down the corner there. And pop you in. Something to wedge you in there with. All the way in. Flush at the bottom. A little bit of pressure in there. Move it around so it doesn't glue itself to the wood. And there we go. Got that corner done. Which, like I said, I think neither one of the ones I've done so far, I've done this right. I think, seems like last time I mismatched. I think the first time I mismatched the long and short, so I was way off. But put the short one on the wrong side. Then the next time I inside and outed them. So now I gotta figure out which ones. Okay. Trying to remember. And forget which side is which. Okay, so that must be the same length. This one's shorter. This should match this one. Double check myself. Okay, so this is the one we'll do next. We're just going to work our way around. Get you there. So got nice support underneath everything. And you in here. Now this one goes to that side. Yeah, so we're matching up over here. Okay. I think, yeah, they actually do it where you make two L's and bring them together. I think I'm gonna like this better. I hope anyway. We'll find out together. Even coat here, hopefully. And down in against the base. And that should be good. Okay. Now, get our next corner bit in there. I hadn't used this much on camera yet. The little aluminum baby square or whatever you want to call it, but I've used it a couple of times and it's really handy. That size, and got the 45-degree angles on it too, if you need them. Bottom half down there, and here to brace against it, and ease you in. layer of veneer, but I think it'll still be alright. Rubbing alcohol tonight after this is done, cleaned it off down there. Alright. Feeling pretty good about that. Yeah, nice and looks like a good edge to me. Now, this part might get to be a little bit more tricky. So going in here. Okay, now it's gonna cooperate, I think. This goes in to the outside. We're doing that. This one, and then we'll straighten this one out and tie it together last. Oops, yeah, okay. That's the thing about sets like this. They're lots of little bitty pieces, and so it's a little on the tedious side, but it's also, I like actually building the pieces sometimes. So, and these are sort of, I think, within reason as far as they're not like, this shouldn't take me the 3 weeks or whatever it did for that last big old book nook like this. Okay, was it the Firefly Forest? Even doing my shorterish videos now, shouldn't be that bad. Okay, and break you out of that. I think I'll just do both corners, and then I'll add my supports in later. Get me a full square in here. Okay, now this should have enough room to get my brush in there without breaking the seals. I hope. Staying in one piece. And back. Alright. I think I'm gonna get this thing on the first try. I tell you what, the first time, I just remembered the first time I messed this thing up. I had followed the instructions and made the 2 L's. But then I put one on upside down, so this one, 2 of them were up the top and 2 of them were down at the bottom. So it didn't have. So that was a mistake I made on one of them. I think it was the first one. What did I say? There's all kinds of little mistakes that can be made here if you're not attentive. Let's see here. So this is the bottom. This side's here. Corner there. Let's drop it in before I set it in place this time. Now, in back pressure, 3 seconds. And one more to go. Set it down, and a little bit of pressure. Alright, now that's got all our corners down, so set that aside for a moment. Actually, set it down where it'll glue itself to my leather here, so stand it up over here, maybe. Okay. Like I said, got my this piece, a little bit of overhang on these 2 sides, but it's I think they just gave us a little room to play with on that. So I'll just take out the whole handy dandy X-Acto. A couple of trips down there, pop it off. Those tabs look okay now. Nice and flush. And so this time, for test fit, let's see. It's a little snug. Maybe. Oh, gotta make sure we get that hole lined up with this hole. Yeah, so. A little bit. There it goes. And now that's in there, I'm debating I don't want to put any glue in there. It's in there nice and snug and looks really nice. Hole there, so let me go ahead and mark that so I can keep track of which direction it's facing. So it should be underneath there. It missed the dot by a fraction, but I think still lines up here real nice. So that's good. Okay. Now, don't think we're going to get as far as I was hoping to get tonight. We might. Someday. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I sort of want to get the back wall built. I'm going to go out of order, I think, to do that, but that's sort of my goal for the night. I think that'll look good. Just be sort of have a little more than just random pieces laying around. We'll actually have some structure. But first thing, we got to wrap these. Go around this. Okay, they sort of. Oh, what's it? I'm using the crease, but you don't need to use the crease. That's right. Yeah, that's the crease that it came with. So it is going to be. Yeah. So yeah. Okay. There it goes. That lines up. Okay. So I'm going to. What am I going to do? And I did cut these. Also, I did cut these too tall, because I figure I can cut it off if I got extra, because we're not using any more of this. Let's pick a corner. Which way? I almost have an idea here. There's how to do it. Wrap it at the corner. But I'm thinking there's going to be a little sign that goes on the front here. So I'm thinking I might just start in the middle and wrap around, and I can use that sign as camouflage to cover that seam. It doesn't go top to bottom, I don't think. Let me find. Okay, so that's good. I can get a hold of that. Yeah, it's this one. Yeah, it's going to be. Yeah, I think that'll do a good enough job to conceal that seam. So, cause that's something I always ran into with the other ones. But it looked at the corners where they meet, it looked sort of raggedy. So yeah, I'm going to try that on this one. Just why not? Do a little experimentation. And so I'm just going to use the super glue to anchor it down here in the middle. And it doesn't even have to be exactly in the middle because of that sign. Just what I want to get. Something, aim generally at the middle, but sloppy on that one. I'll wipe it off after. And rag to wipe off that extra glue. Okay. Oops. Wasn't finished being anchored, I guess. Okay. I'll just bring that around nice and snug on that corner. That, yeah, we got close to center. Okay, so I want it to be good and tight, so I'm going to put the glue here on the wood this time and, like I say, pull it tight around the corner, I hope. Nice top to bottom on this, make sure I get good 3/4, half an inch, something like that. Just make sure I got a good layer of glue for it. Pull you snug and wrap you around. Make sure your top is over on the other end. A little heat in there to set it up. Okay, yeah, I think that's going to look nice. Sort of the same thing over here. Probably do, actually, I think I'm going to do some limited, just sort of, I'm going to do top to bottom on the corner, and I'm just going to, just a little bit, just spread out the rest of those on the brush through the rest of there. Nice and tight. Heat the friction in there to set the glue up. Okay, so far, you know, I know I still got to put the other side on, but so far this is the best looking one of these I've done so far. Yep. You know, let's say out of 3. Okay, so here. Sort of the same thing. Nice top to bottom around the corner there. A good bit on the switch cover, switch hole, access point, whatever you want to call it. Okay, yeah. Yeah, I'm very optimistic at this point. That's sort of, like I said, it's always been when you bring them together, you get that seam there. It sort of looks, it always looked bad. But I'll try to grab one of the other ones and bring it in here at some point so you can sort of see what I'm talking about. But now I know where I'm going with this one, so I'm just going to butt it up against that. Maybe do just a shade of overlap. And take you around just like I did the other one. Go the other way. But like I said, cautiously optimistic here that this is going to work out for me here. Oops, way too much glue on that. First step, just to anchor it in place. Short distance, I'm not worried about coating the whole thing. Just want to make sure I get the corner nice and snug first, and then we'll worry about the rest. Okay, yeah, I see. Okay, line up on that. And the most important part, I would spread some all along the way just to make sure we get good. Yeah, that's perfect wrap on it, huh? Yeah. Okay. Okay, now I got all the excess here on the top, but I knew that was coming. Oops. Stay. Okay, so I'm pleased with those corners. I think this. I'm thinking this is going to be something I'm really happy with. Okay, but first things first, get in here with the that corner and go. Well, I thought we were going to go further than we did today. I guess it's going to be a good start. But I'm still determined to build that wall right off the bat, so we will get there going with that tomorrow rather than all the little bitty pieces. Okay, so this fold it over the top. That little teeny tiny scissors here. Let's trim on this one because room to go down. I think it's supposed to wrap all the way around. So, by intention, if I can get it to glue down like that, I'll just trim that inside edge off. Cause I do think I did that before, and that did work. Okay. Actually, I think I'm just going to put the glue on the top and then maybe trim off at the top corner because you don't really see the inside of that thing, so I think that'll be less stressful. Hopefully. Clean this off as much as I can. This is going to be tricky getting that small of a let it float, I think, this time. Nope. I think I got enough on there on this corner here. Yeah, it's not staying down like I thought it would. May have to do something different. Okay. I think this is going to be where we call it a night. Well, once I get this part figured out. Okay, so that's new plan. I am going to get out the B7000 and do a really light bead across all the way around the corner. Then clamp it down onto this. Maybe not that one, that's too big. A smaller piece here, is that big? That's not big enough. But you might work, I think. You're gonna be... nope. Okay, this one is wide enough. Okay, so I'll just clamp it down onto that at the four corners to hold that down to let that glue set in on there. Yeah, because that's not holding. Okay, so that's our plan. Make sure I got room to fold in here on all of them. So these two are going to go inside. So let's take off another. Those guys. Yeah. And we'll find out tomorrow whether or not this worked. Okay, so like I said, just light a bead as I can on this top edge. Make sure I don't want to. Hopefully, not going to get too far over, but it might work out to our success. We'll find out tomorrow together. Okay, so these are going to fold down first. Top of that. So let's hit try and get a nice crease in here. Maybe. Top. Okay, that's okay, so they're all going in. And just down. Okay, everybody's down. And then just clamp it. Corners here. And I can get two more clamps, so I'll put them in the middle. And before I call it a night, I'll go ahead and get the glue these guys in place so we can hit the ground running tomorrow. We got. You can it's sort of like there's a little dot on there. You're supposed to line up with that one. And this one's a little more obvious. Line the window up with the window. We'll make sure on this one that we get enough room, get it sort of centered here, so we got room to fold it over. Actually, let me go back. This is another one of those times it's good to use the old scoring method. So you that your seam lined up there. And sort of gently drag that down through there. You don't want to cut it, but you want it to be a little more receptive to bending. Okay. That should make it scored a little bit, so we got nice edges to wrap around. Hopefully this one's cooperating. There it goes. Okay, now should just drop right in there. Yeah, we got good coverage on all sides. I don't think I'm going to glue those sides down yet. I'll use a super glue on them tomorrow. Go back to the old B7000. Light run around the edge. Get some dots. Drop you on. Lined up on the top and the sides. Perfect. Other side. Squeeze it out a little bit. Make sure the glue's nice and spread out. Stayed in place. Yep. Okay. I'll set you aside. And rinse and repeat on this one. I have scored a little bit too hard in the past and actually cut it. So I'm trying to make sure I don't do that. You know, gotta have, it's not quite blunt but not sharp either on the end. So sort of gotta trial and error it and find a good. I've seen people use plastic, you know, not broken pieces of plastic, but like little plastic knives. It seemed to do a pretty good job of this, sort of blunted plastic, but it's got a little bit of a core on it. Okay, now let's see how this goes. Straight edge here, maybe. Okay, there it goes on the side anyway. Convince it to bend where I want it to bend is the trick. I did. I think I may have not scored this one enough. It's not being as receptive as the first one. But it got there so far. Okay. You. Alright. And get our hole there. We'll line up with that one. Okay, pretty good lineup on our window. Love it. Sort of the same situation, just really light around the edges. I'll glue the rest down tomorrow. squeegee. Alright. Good. Covered on our sides, top. Alright. I feel good about that. Don't have anything to show you because everything's undercover now, but I guess I can pull these back out. But there we go. We're going to call that a night. Thanks for watching, everybody. Like, subscribe, comment, complain, share. Do whatever you want to with all of that. Be good to one another. Stay safe, and click on a link. There's my channel up there if you want to subscribe. There's my other channel if you want to check out some experiments a couple times a month. This is what YouTube thinks you should be watching, and this will be the playlist for this whole build once I get more than one video up. See you tomorrow.